Hello there and welcome to the video. So this is part 2 of my small escape with my very humble camper van. Last week I explored a national park that lies in the area in between the two Great Lakes of Sweden. And that's where we start off this video as well, somewhere in the Swedish woodlands in that general area. And later on we'll revisit a rather special place that I visited for the first time last spring. Enjoy! Well, good morning there. So I decided to just venture down into this small little nature preserve fairly close to where I slept last night, just for kind of a morning stroll. And there's this lovely little woodland here right next to the lake here. And I spotted this little scene here with a couple of trees nice and nestled in among the rocks there. A nice calm scene. And then we have the rising sun over there side-lighting the trees. And that is important because it gives texture and structure to the trees. Especially important to pine trees because they kind of need that little spark of interest. And I know I have said that many times before, but it is important, at least to me. So nice little first capture, and we'll see if I can find anything else on this little stroll. So it was quite a nice little morning stroll. I couldn't really find anything else to photograph. And it's about 10 o'clock now, and I do need to get on the roads. I need to be home tomorrow, so I can stay out one more evening. And kind of need to start heading south. And I'm thinking I'm going to revisit the Great Marsh. I was there in spring. I couldn't really enjoy myself when I was there. I was kind of stressed about it, and I kind of want to return there with the large format. And more important, there's some cloud in the forecast, and I think that open space with the clouds in the background, a tree in the foreground could make for quite a nice image. I kind of feel like that place needs some dramatic skies. So I'm hoping for that, so I'm going to head down there. It's about 2-3 hours drive from where I'm at, so time to hit the roads. One problem with wanting dramatic skies, that is that clouds often mean rain, as for instance now. It is raining quite heavy, but I did check the forecast before, and it should stop right about now actually. So I'm just going to hang out in the van for a few more minutes and see if it lightens up, and then I'll just head out into the marsh. But there's another little problem, and that is the boardwalk you have to follow to get out into the marsh. They do tend to get quite slippery when they are wet, so we'll have to see if this is feasible for me this evening. But for now, I'm just going to chill out in the van. the rain finally stopped and I've started to venture out into the marshland here, or the bog. I don't actually know the difference between the two. Let's just call it the wetlands. And I'm happy to report the boardwalk I'm walking on isn't as slippery as I first feared. It's quite alright actually. However, we are a bit short on time. It took a bit longer for the rain to stop, so I'm not going to do the whole route around. Instead, I'm just going to walk out for about an hour and hope I can find some subjects on the way, and then just return. I have packed a head torch so I can trek back in the dark if I have to. I do hope we find something. Rain! How lovely! So quite a mad dash there. First off, I made a mistake. I forgot my photography tripod at the car, so I had to use my video tripod, and that isn't meant for large format. It isn't sturdy enough for that camera. Fingers crossed that it worked anyhow. Very simple wide angle shot of this tree here against this very open landscape, and then the clouds in the background as a dramatic backdrop. As you can see, I put on the rain poncho, covered my bag, and I'm going to head back to the car, get my other tripod, and see if the rain stops again, and we might head out again tonight. Otherwise, I'm just going to find a park up for tonight. Now I'm getting back to the car. Got wet quite fast. However, I'm not giving up. I'm going to change to my proper waterproof that I actually brought with me and head out again, because I did notice the sun poking through the clouds. So we have like rain mixed with sun. Perfect conditions for this location. Can't get any better. So we'll prioritize tonight over tomorrow morning. Wish me luck. Take 2. Same hike as before. I'm going to cut it very short this time around. Partly because I don't like to hike in weatherproof clothing, and secondly, perhaps more importantly, I'm worried I will lose the light. It's just poking through the sun every now and again from the clouds, and still have that dramatic sky in the background. Recipe for great images. I think that's it. It's starting to get late. It's around 7 o'clock now, and the sun sets about 7:30, so time to start heading back. A shame though, because it's basically perfect conditions now. We have these really saturated trees, beautiful sun, nice cloud cover still, some drama in the skies. A shame it couldn't be materialized in an image as well. It is what it is. Time to get back and get some food. So I ended up setting up the camera here. I did spot this tree that I kind of liked with its yellowish leaves. I thought it looked nice and I might as well just take an image of that. Quite straightforward. F22, 4 seconds, or actually 2 seconds, but I have to double the time to account for reciprocity failure for this film. We'll see if this turns out. I would ideally like a bit more light on my subject and a bit more contrast. But it is what it is, and you never know. So I ended up to just wander out into the boardwalk here, and I did find one tree, a solitary tree against quite an open background. There's a small little tree in the bottom third as well. I'm not sure that will be visible in the final image, but if it is, it will be a nice little addition. And then we had some nice white clouds against darker clouds in the background that I thought might work quite well. I did a mobile metering because I couldn't be bothered doing spot metering, as it is a very flat scene when it comes to the lighting. And well, it called for 6 seconds at f16. I checked the reciprocity failure with an app, and for Fomapan 200 I then needed to do 45 seconds. And I actually did a full minutes, just to make sure. And with that, it's high time to head back to the car and get some food and find a park out for tonight. That concludes this small escape, this micro-adventure of mine. It was something I definitely needed, and it was a nice break. Looking at the images from this trip, they were a big mixed bunch. Some were utter failures, some were a bit meh, and some were decent to good. I do like the morning images, both the one from this video and last week's video. I do think they kinda work. And I do like the two images of the lone trees here at the marsh. They look quite interesting. I would have liked a bit more light on the trees, a bit more drama, but they look quite decent. We'll see in the future how well they will print as well, because an image isn't done until it's on paper, at least not for me. But this was foremost an escape for me, to give myself some time to devote to landscape photography, something I desperately needed. And it was also a micro-adventure, and as such it was supposed to challenge myself in some way. And it did do that. And I did learn a few things for the future. First, this was a very impromptu trip. I hadn't really planned where to go or where to sleep. It just worked out along the way. It was also the longest I've been out with the campervan. Previously, I've only done 2 nights in a row in the van. This time I did 4 nights in a row. It might not sound like a lot, and it might not be. But I didn't feel like that was the max. I could happily stay out for a few more nights if I had the time for it. A nice receipt that the van actually works for me. I do think I want to update a few things in the future, mainly the cooking situation. I'm thinking some sort of a kitchen cabinet would have been nice, so I don't have to play as much Tetris when I want to cook up some food. And it would have been nice to have some sort of a table. But besides that, it worked really well. And I do think up to a week in the van would be fine with me. It is very humble and perhaps not as Instagrammable as some other campervans. But it's all I need, and I do appreciate that it is very stealth and doesn't attract a lot of attention. And it also has to work as a part-time commuter vehicle for me, and I do use it as a van every now and again, and I have to be able to pull out the, sleeping platform when I need to, store stuff in the van instead. And I think that's enough rambling for now, but I do want to encourage you to try out this micro-adventure thing, just to get a break. And it doesn't have to be multiple nights out in a van. The whole idea is that it is simple, but something that breaks the everyday and challenge yourself. That's the whole idea. I'm thinking of some urban nighttime photography with the 4x5 for my next micro-adventure. But time will tell if it's that or something completely different. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care and bye.